So economic growth, development, and the capital formations. How to develop the capital. Okay, so how to increase the capital कसरी बनाउने हो. Okay, so what do you mean economic growth? Economic growth भने के हो? So development भने के हो? Economic development भने के हो? So and the capital formation. How to change this type of environment, that is the poverty line, to a good line. Okay, so where everyone is going to be rich enough. Okay, so it looks like most of them are in the poverty line. Okay, garibi lekhama muni छ अरे. Okay, so the homes, you can see the roofs over here, the small house. Okay, so they are not managed properly, but you can see over here they are all managed properly. Okay, so urbanized भइसकेछ. So यो कसरी गर्ने त? Okay, so यो एउटा country develop हुनुको लागि के हुनु पर्यो, that we are going to learn right now. Right? Then, so let me go to the main topic. So keep on underlining also. Okay, so let us learn the general concept of economic growth and economic development. So economic growth means, so if the economic level is increasing, yes, economic level is increasing from lower level to the higher level. Okay, हामी गरिबी रेखा मुनि छौं अरे. So if you are earning 10,000, so how to become more richer? Okay, so कसरी हामी धनी हुने त? So how to earn more than 10,000, how to move more than 50,000, so that our level, I guess हाम्रो level जुन छ त्यसलाई अलिकति म्यानेज गर्न सकोस्. Okay, so त्यो त्यसलाई भनिन्छ इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ. इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ भनेको के अरे त? सो इट इज द स्टडी. ओके, स्टडी भनेको एउटा निरन्तर रूपमा चलिराख्ने. ओके, सो एउटै स्टडी रूपमा. ओके, इट इज अ प्रोसेस. ओके, बाय विच द productive capacity of the economy is increased over time to bring about the rising lead of information output and the income. Okay, so how to increase our income, how to increase our output. Okay, so पहिला हामीले 5 crore को business गर्थ्यौं भने how to increase our economy so that we can trade more than 5 crore. Okay, so 5 crore भन्दा धेरै कसरी बनाउने त? So कसरी ग्रोथ गर्ने त? Okay, so पहिला हाम्रो इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ भनेको 6% ले ग्रोथ हुन्थ्यो अरे. That means हाम्रो जुन आम्दानी छ, जुन हाम्रो इकोनोमिक स्ट्याटस 5% ले बढ्छ नि. कसरी त्यसलाई अझै 5% भन्दा 15%, 20% ले बढाउने त? कसरी हामी गरिबीको रेखा मुनिबाट. Okay, so let us be more than that one. Okay, so हामी गरिबीको रेखा मुनि हैन, त्यो भन्दा धेरै ठुलो हुनु पर्यो. Okay, so कसरी त्यो हामी डेभलप हुने त? That we are going to learn right now. Okay, so before 10, 20 years, 25 years, Dubai was nothing. Okay, Dubai was a poor country. So China was also a poor country. Okay, so before 20, let me say around 30 for 40 years before also, Japan was very poor because world le गर्दा फेरि सकाफै भएको हाम्रो जापान. Okay, so Japan was almost nothing. Okay, so it was a very poor country. So China was also a very poor country. So before 15-20 years before. Okay, so Dubai कता त्यो तेल निस्किनु भन्दा अगाडि त्यो एकदम poor country थियो. But after that one, okay, so एउटा management जुन छ, okay, जुन एउटा नेतृत्व लियो, okay, सरकारहरुले. So the government has been changed, and after that this country has turned into all sorts of phase that they are very much developed. Okay, so त्यसलाई भन्छ इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ. Okay, जुन चाहिँ तिमीहरुको इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ चाहिँ एकदम पेजमा गछ. Okay, एकदम फास्ट रूपमा गछ हैन. That is called इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ. Okay, कसरी बढ्ने त? Okay, गरिबी रेखा मुनिबाट कसरी हामी माथि जाने त? Okay, that is the economic growth. है. So हाम्रो क्यापेसिटी कसरी बढाउने हो? Okay, so Dubai was nothing, but so because of the oil and all, okay, so तेल जब निस्क्यो, petroleum products जब निस्क्यो, so त्यसपछि चाहिँ now the development has been started. Okay, development started to grow. Okay, so त्यसरी बढ्न थालेको हो है. हामीले जीडीपी, that means the gross domestic product, that means देशमा कतिवटा के बनाउने हो त्यो उत्पादन गरियो. Okay, so instead of buying from other country, if we can make it in our own home country, then that will be better. Okay, so हाम्रो पैसा चाहिँ बाहिर जानु भएन. So if we start buying the thing from other countries only, then हाम्रो economic growth हुनेवाला छैन Okay, so to make our country develop, we must be focusing on our own country product. Okay, हाम्रो homemade product मा तिमीहरुको विश्वास गर्नु पर्यो. Okay, so we should not believe on other foreign products. Okay, so हामी suit सिलाउनु पर्यो भने, so we do not go for the Indian, so we did not go for the Nepali suit, Nepali cloth. Okay, we go for the Indian cloth. So that is not good. Okay, so your quality हो भने, so why you are preferring the Indian product? Okay, so Nepalese product भनेको अलिकति सस्तो पनि हुन्छ भने Indian product किन किन्ने हो त? Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, so त्यसले गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ हुनु पाएको छैन. नेपालको नेपाली भएर नेपाली प्रडक्टै नकिनेपछि नेपाली कसरी ग्रोथ हुने त? Okay, इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ हुँदैन. Okay, so त्यो हामी चाहिँ म्यानेज गर्न सक्नु पर्ने हुन्छ. Okay, so that is all about इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ. कसरी so lower level देखि upper level हुने. Okay, so the productive capacity कसरी बढाउने. Okay, so it has to be increased over the time to bring the rising level of nation output and income. Okay, हाम्रो level चाहिँ कसरी बढाउने. So that is the economic growth. Okay, so नजान्नेबाट जान्ने बनाउने प्रोसेस भनौँ न यसलाई. Okay, so सजिलो तरिकाले बुझ्दाखेरि. Okay, so now let us learn about the economic development. Okay, so economic development भनेको चाहिँ त्यही एउटा partiality हुनु भएन. Okay, so economic development means so there is a reduction. Okay, whatever the negative points are there for the economics, like poverty हुनु भएन. And so poverty भनेको गरिबी, that is called the that is the bad effect, that is the bad, okay, that is the negative of this economics. So poverty हुनु भएन, uneducated हुनु भएन. Okay, so unemployment हुनु भएन. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि के हो त economic तिमीहरुको घट्छ. आर्थिक, that means the money is going to be decreased. If you are not employed, that means पैसा कसरी कमाउने. If you are not educated, पैसा फेरि कसरी कमाउने. Okay, so indirectly, so it is going to be related with the money. Okay, so how to create, okay, so how to reduce this all negative factors, that is called the economic development. Okay, so economic development is defined as the term of the reduction of poverty. Okay, गरिबीलाई घटाउनु पर्यो. Okay, so जुन गरिब छ है, so अघि ग्रोथमा चाहिँ के थियो भन्दा गरिबलाई कसरी चेन्ज गर्ने. Okay, गरिबलाई कसरी, so how to increase that thing. Okay, so growth को कुरा गर्दै थियौ हामी. Okay, but यसलाई चाहिँ के भन्छ त डेभलपमेन्ट भन्नाले चाहिँ के हो त भन्दाखेरि इट इज जस्ट अ रिडक्सन. गरिबीलाई के गर्ने, हटाउने. कसरी हटाउने त? धनी. Okay, so the employment opportunities must be there, education must be there. जब एजुकेसन बढ्न थाल्छ तब देश is going to be developed. Okay, so during the Rana regime, okay, so Rana rulerको बेलामा के भएको थियो भन्दाखेरि, so there was no education. The people were not allowed to have the proper education. Okay, so when there was no education, okay, so किन एजुकेसन दिएन त भन्दाखेरि, so जान्ने बुझ्ने हुन्छ. Okay, so जनताहरूले जान्ने बुझ्ने भने हाम्रो रुल हटेर जान्छ हैन. So Rana rule, so Rana को पालामा, so the people were not allowed to learn. Okay, and they went Banaras, they went some other places to learn. Okay, so अरू मान्छेहरू त्यतिखेर बाहिर गएर मात्र पढ्न पाइन्थ्यो. Okay, so इन्डियामा गएर मात्र पढ्न पाइन्थ्यो. So because of this one also, okay, so हाम्रो country अलिकति underdeveloped. So 2007 सम्म, that means 2007 BS सम्म, okay, so before 70 years before, okay, हामी त सबै प्राय जस्तो पिपलहरु अनएजुकेटेड नै थियौ. Okay, so Rana, so royal family बाहेक, so सबजना अनएजुकेटेड नै थियो है. सो त्यसले गर्दा हामी धेरै पछाडी छौं. so धेरै पछाडी छौं. So अब यो uneducation लाई, okay, so that means illiteracy rate लाई, so कसरी बढाउने हो. Okay, that means illiteracy लाई literacy कसरी बढाउने हो, poverty लाई कसरी धनी बनाउने हो. inequality भनेको धनी र गरिबको रेखा. Okay, so धनी and गरिब, there should not be any differences. Inequality भन्नाले धनी and गरिब, they should not be unequal. Okay, they should be little bit, so there should not be any garib in the country, there should not be any poor people in the country. Okay, so that is called the inequality. So inequality हुनु भएन. गरिब धेरै गरिब, धनी धेरै धनी हुनु भएन. Okay, so they must be equal, all must be rich enough. Okay, so that is the so that also must be eradicated, that means it must be reduced. Okay, so on employment, that means the unemployment problem, so jagir napaune system, so that also must be removed, so within the context of growing economy. Okay, so if this everything is removed, then that is called the economic डेभलपमेन्ट है सो इकोनोमिक डेभलपमेन्ट भनिन्छ सो लगभग दुईजनाको एउटा नै मिनिङ छ ओके यो चाहिँ पुरै हटाउने भनिरहेछ ओके सो इकोनोमिक डेभलपमेन्टले चाहिँ पुरै हटाउने भन्छ भने इकोनोमिक ग्रोथले चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दा बिस्तारै बिस्तारै बढाउँदै जाने ओके सो यसले के भन्छ त सो नजान्नेलाई सिधै फर्स्ट बनाइदिए हुन्छ है सो इकोनोमिक ग्रोथलाई चाहिँ बिस्तारै बिस्तारै फेल हुन्छ भने बिस्तारै पास हुन्छ अनि बिस्तारै 10th र्याङ्कसम्म आउँछ 10th र्याङ्क पछि बिस्तारै फर्स्ट सेकेन्ड होला है सो त्यसरी भन्छ ग्रोथले चाहिँ भने यो डेभलपमेन्टले चाहिँ सो सबैजना हट्नु पर्यो नजान्ने नराम्रो कुरोहरू सबै कुरो हट्नु पर्यो सबै दे मस्ट बी अ गुड रिजल्ट भन्छ यसले चाहिँ है ओके सो त्यो चाहिने भनेको यति मात्र पोइन्ट थियो ओके सो राइट अन द डेफिनेसन इन दिस वे सो दिस इज द डेफिनेसन अफ इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ टिक गरिहालौँ है सो यसरी लेखौँ सो इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ इज डिफाइन्ड एज द स्टडी ओके सो यसरी डेफिनेसनलाई यसरी बनाउने है सो इन द सिमिलर वे सो डेफिनेसन अफ दिस इकोनोमिक डेभलपमेन्टको नोट्स चाहिँ यसरी बनाउने राइट अन जस्ट दिस वान only so economic development is defined as the term of the reduction okay so after economic sum so let us write down okay so tick this one also underline this one also okay so now let us learn the differences between the economic growth and economic development okay so any 5 points we need to learn okay so there are around 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 points are there altogether or 8 points are there altogether okay 7 points so look at here so economic growth and economic development what are the differences between them so number one is the definition okay so let us learn the definition of economic growth the average annual increase in GDP and PCI what is the meaning of PCI it is per capita income that means this very average income but this that is called the per capita income देशभरि कति उत्पादन हुन्छ what are the production done inside the country itself that is called the GDP gross domestic product right the average annual increase in GDP and PCI of the nation is called the economic growth okay so देशमा कति बढ्दैछ प्रोडक्सन कतिले बढ्दैछ okay so नेपाल so देशको इन्कम कतिले बढ्दैछ that is called the economic growth okay so aliali गर्दै त बढ्ने हो नि okay so एकैचोटि त भात त बढ्दैन okay so that's why the average annual increase okay कतिले increase हुँदैछ यो GDP र PCI in the country that is called the economic growth okay so whereas economic development means the overall economic well-being of the nation including other social aspect is called the economic development okay so यो यसरी डेभलपमेन्ट त भयो okay as well as other social aspect पनि okay so develop भएर जानुलाई नै what we call it economic development okay अरु पनि फ्याक्टर्सहरु हुन्छ so that त्यो सबै फ्याक्टर्सहरुलाई राम्रो बोर्ड तरिकाले so राम्ररी डेभलप हुने सबै कुरालाई नै इन्क्लुड गरेर पुरै डेभलप हुनेलाई we call it economic development so scope we can see over here so this is the narrow scope that means अलि यो डेभलपमेन्ट okay so अलिअलि गर्दै मात्रै बढ्नेलाई we call it economic growth isn't it so that is a narrow scope हामीले अलिकति सानो पोइन्ट्सलाई मात्रै हेरेका छौं because it increase in the real output in the particular sector okay so you it increase in real output only okay so real output लाई मात्रै फोकस गर्दै रहेछ भने so this is a broad scope that means फराकिलो scope रहेछ because it includes the increase in the real output in the every sector of the economy okay so while writing the differences just write down it is based on the narrow scope this is based on the broad scope यति मात्रै लेख्दा हुन्छ okay यसको चाहिँ डिफरेन्स बिट्विनमा है सो यो फराकिलो सोच छ भने यसको चाहिँ अलिकति नेरो सोच रहेछ यो चाहिँ सबै डेभलप गर भन्छ यो चाहिँ अलिकति okay so GDP र PCI बिस्तारै डेभलप भयो भने कन्ट्री डेभलप हुन्छ भनेर सोच रहेछ यसको चाहिँ है so effect so it affects can be tested quickly and easily okay so just दुईटा चीज त हामीले टेस्ट गर्नु पर्ने that is GDP and PCI that means it has a quick testing power okay that means it affect that means यसको असर चाहिँ हामीले टेस्ट गर्न सजिलो छ okay so growth हुँदैछ कि छैन त भनेर टेस्ट गर्न सजिलो छ because just we need to measure these two factors only GDP and PCI only okay but यो चाहिँ अलिकति फराकिलो छ धेरै कुरा टपिकहरु पर्छ यसलाई इम्प्लोयमेन्ट कतिको छ ओके सो इलिटरेसी छ कि छैन त ओके सो इनइक्वालिटी छ कि छैन त नट ओन्ली दैट देयर आर सो मेनी अदर फ्याक्टर्स so that must be included in it. Okay, that's why यसको चाहिँ अलिकति रिडिङ गर्न अलिकति गाह्रो छ. Its effect can be tested after long observation of various sectors. Okay, so धेरै कुराहरू पढेर मात्रै हामीले यो डेभलपमेन्ट हुँदैछ कि छैन पत्ता लगाउन सक्छौँ. ओके, सो नभए यो पत्ता लगाउन अलिकति गाह्रो रहेछ बिकज एजुकेसन कतिको छ. ओके, सो यो जुन सेन्सस हुन आँटेको छ अब, ओके, जनसङ्ख्याहरू नोट गर्ने मान्छेहरू आउन आँटेका छन्. ओके, सो they will test, okay, so whether the people are educated or not. Okay, सबै डिटेलमा सोध्छ. ओके, सो एजुकेटेड भएको छैन, सो कति एजको ग्रुपहरू छ, पैसा कति, इन्कमहरू कति कमाउँछ, एभ्रिथिङ दे आर गोइङ टु आस्क टु अस. ओके, सो द्याट्स वाइ सो दिस आर द एफेक्ट्स. ओके, सो त्यो एफेक्ट गर्नु चाहिँ अलिकति धेरैवटा अब्जर्भेसन गर्नुपर्छ भने यता थोरै दुईटा मात्रै चिज छ. ओके, द्याट्स वाइ इट इज इजी टु टेस्ट. Right, so measurement other is the calculation, so it is measurable exactly so in exact unit or quantity because it includes the economic variables like the output, capital output ratio, balance of. Okay, so SQ calculation ETO, balance of payment, these are the things that are included there. These are the calculation that is included in the economic growth. So in case of economic development, SQ calculation गर्ने measurement के हो भन्दाखेरि, so it is almost impossible to measure in the quantity. Okay, it is a broad sense. That's why it's अलिकति calculation गर्नु अलिकति गाह्रै छ अरे because it includes not only the quantity but also the quality. Okay, so quality पनि त include गर्ने, quality त measurement गर्न सक्दैन. Okay, so तिम्रो सर्ट अलिकति सफा छ अरे, अझ धेरै सफा छ अरे, अस्को अर्को भन्दा अलिकति धेरै सफा छ अरे. So कतिले धेरै सफा छ क्याल्कुलेसन गर्न सक्छौ, 5% ले धेरै छ, 10%. Okay, so we cannot calculate that one. Okay, so these are the quality and quality cannot be measured. Okay, so cannot be calculated. So that's why the political, so historical, historical, cultural, historical, okay, so social, general, well-being, etc. So you सबै includes which cannot be measured. Okay, so cultural भनेको अगाडिको historical सबै प्रोसेसमा. Okay, political stability छ कि छैन त. Okay, so that means नेताहरू एउटा स्टेबल नेताहरू छ कि छैन त, they are all included. त्यसलाई चाहिँ कसरी मेजरमेन्ट गर्ने त, त्यो त परेन. ओके, द्याट्स वाइ यसको मेजरमेन्टमा चाहिँ अलिकति गाह्रै छ. ओके, so indicators, so it is indicated by the national income. Okay, so नेपाल भरिको पिपलहरूले कति कमाउँछ त. ओके, सो त्योदेखि लिएर so per capita income पनि कति छ त. Okay, so what is the per capita income of the people, that also can be. So these are the two indicators of the economic growth. Okay, so per capita income बढेर गयो, मान्छेको स्यालेरीहरू धेरै हुन थाल्यो. ओके, प्रत्येक मान्छेको स्यालेरी धेरै हुन थाल्यो भने सो हाम्रो इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ बढ्दै गछ. ओके, सो नेसनल इन्कम भनेको सो देशभरिको तलब, टोटलमा चाहिँ तलब कति छ त, द्याट इज द नेसनल इन्कम. ओके, सो भने सो इकोनोमिक डेभलपमेन्टमा चाहिँ इट्स इन्डिकेटर्स आर PQLI, that is physical quality of life index, त्यो हामी पछि पढ्छ. So human development index त्यो पनि पछि यो टपिक्सहरुमै छ. ओके, सो क्वालिटिज, व्हाट आर द different index भनेर छ त्यहाँ. ओके, सो त्यो हामी पढ्छौँ पछाडी नै. So physical development index is there, per capita income is there. So these are the measurement, these are the indicators which will say that our country is really developed. हाम्रो इकोनोमिक really develop भएको छ, हाम्रो इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ भएको छ भनेर यिनीहरूले यिनीहरू फ्याक्टर्सहरूले देखाउँछ अरे. Okay, so अरु कुरा त भयो. So conditions of development, so it is necessary conditions for the economic development. Okay, so you एकदम necessary condition हो, because if the income will be increased, okay, if the per capita will be increased, then only there is a economic growth. Okay, so एकदम necessary छ, economic growth हुनु necessary छ. If there is a economic growth, then only the country is going to be developed, isn't it? हैन, सो सिधा डेभलपमेन्ट हुनु सकिँदैन. सो ग्रोथ हुनु पर्यो, अलिअलि जस्ट गर्दै सिधै हामी लोअर फ्लोरदेखि माथिल्लो फ्लोर जान सक्दैन, एक स्टेपमै जान सकिँदैन. सो वी नीड टु टेक अप मेनी स्टेप्स, अराउन्ड 20 स्टेप्स आर देयर, फुल स्टेप्स आर देयर. ओके, भरेङहरू 10-15 स्टेप्सहरू छ, एन्ड 10-15 स्टेप्सहरू पहिलाहरू लिनिसकेपछि मात्रै सो वी क्यान गो टु द अपर स्टेप्स, इज इट? सो द्याट इज द इकोनोमिक ग्रोथ भने इकोनोमिक डेभलपमेन्ट हो, सिधै माथिदेखि तल लेभलदेखि माथि लेभलमा पुग्नुलाई नै वी कल इट इकोनोमिक डेभलपमेन्ट. ओके, सो इट इज इन्सफिसिएन्ट कन्डिसन अफ डेभलपमेन्ट. ओके, सो इन्सफिसिएन्ट कन्डिसन छ भने इट इज द नेसेसरी कन्डिसन फर द डेभलपमेन्ट है. सो यो भइहाल्यो. ओके, दिस आर द differences, write down any 5 of them. Okay, so use numbers 2 ko chai, so it is based on narrow scope and this is based on the broad scope. Just write on this was only, others write on all. So these are the differences between Now let us learn the characteristics of underdevelopment country. Underdeveloped भनेको developing country, underdeveloped country. Otherwise, we can call it the poor country also. Okay, Nepal is developing country. Developing भनेको अब सुन्दाखेरि त so it seems like okay, so it is a developed country, but it is not a developed country. It is a developing country. Developing country भन्नाले poor country भनिन्छ. Okay, जुन चाहिँ भर्खर भर्खर विकास हुँदैछ, which are just developing in the developing phase, they are called the developing country. Okay, so either we can call it underdeveloped country, so developing country, others you can just put a slash, and we can write down poor country also. Okay, slash there are poor country characteristics of poor country. Okay, so poor country, others poverty. Okay, so poor country भनेर आउन सक्छ. Okay, so some of the characteristics are as follows. Okay, गुण कस्तो हुन्छ त? Okay, characteristics of poor country को अलिकति गुणहरु के हुन्छ? So let us learn about this one. Number one is economic characteristics. Okay, so number one, so developing country are poor, isn't it? So developing भनेको poor country कस्तो हुन्छ? Poor त हुन्छ. Okay, and so are the majority of the people. Okay, so most of the people in the poor country, in the developing country, they are poor. Okay, so they are poor enough. Majority, there is just about people, they are poor enough, and they are unable to fulfill their basic needs also. Okay, basic needs पनि fulfill गर्न सक्दैन बिचाराहरुले. Okay, so तिनीहरुले basic needs हरु पनि fulfill गर्न सक्दैन. Like they cannot fulfill their basic needs like the food, clothes, shelter. Okay, तिनीहरुको आफ्नो घर हुँदैन, तिनीहरुको food खान पाउँदैन, nutritious food खान पाइँदैन. They cannot wear a proper clothes. Okay, so if they wish to buy the clothes, it doesn't have the money to buy the clothes. Okay, they are not able to buy. So instead they stitch the clothes, okay, and they use that cloth again and again. Okay, so that is the economic characteristics that we can see. Okay, so in the developing country. So next thing also we can see over here is there is a high infant mortality rate also. Okay, infant भनेको child, children. Okay, so they cannot get a proper nutritious diet to their children, and children like nutritious diet there is a mortality rate also. That means there is a death rate. Okay, so high death rates are found in the poor country. Okay, so बच्चाहरु अलिकति धेरै छिटो अलिकति जाडा पखालाले के सो डायरियाले नि इभन डायरिया के सो ले पनि सो ज्यान जाने हुन्छ. That's why so it is little bit dangerous. Okay, so you अलिकति that you can see over here. So low schooling of children can be seen. Okay, so नेपालमा पनि so पहिला पहिला के थियो भन्दाखेरि स्कुलिङ रेटहरु अलिकति कम थियो. Okay, so ladies they are not preferred. नभए अझै तिमीले माउन्टेनस रिजनमा जाने भने अझै स्कुलिङहरु जान पास हुने तिनीहरु स्कुल्सहरु बस्दैन तिनीहरु. Okay, so schooling rates I guess they are so just illiteracy rate is high in the economic in the poor country. Okay, so there is a low illiteracy rate. Okay, so if there is a low literacy rate, then what will happen? So they cannot earn more also. You know, okay, so if you do not learn, you cannot earn also. Okay, earn learn isn't it? So likewise, the natural resources, okay, so are also underutilized in the Nepal, and the deficiency of the capital, okay, and the old technologies are found in the underdeveloped country. Okay, so in the underdeveloped country we can see the old technologies. Okay, so old machines are there. हामीले नयाँ so technologies are used गर्न पाएको छैन, पैसा त छैन. Okay, so we don't have the money to invest on different projects. That's why हाम्रो natural resources they are underutilized. Okay, so Nepal is rich in the natural resources, they are rich in the forest resources, they are rich in the water resources. Okay, so still we are facing the load shedding over here, isn't it? So we are underutilized. Okay, so these resources are underutilized, and there is no development of the basic infrastructures like the road. Okay, so roads are धेरै ठाउँमा पाइँदैन. Okay, so we can see in our country itself. Okay, so there so many infrastructures like the roads are not found. Okay, so transportation facility like train is still not available in our country. Okay, so so trains are unable. Okay, so this communication facility, that is still most of the areas we cannot get the communication facilities. Okay, so all the services sectors are also not available in our country. So धेरैवटा चीजहरु देखिँदैन in our country. Okay, so that means in the poor country we cannot see this type of facilities. Okay, So हामी यो पनि देख्न सक्छौँ. Okay, so के छ भन्दाखेरि, so in the poor country there is a low income. Okay, so if there is a low income, there is low saving. And so तलबै थोरै भने saving पनि कम हुन्छ. And if there is low saving, there is low capital. Okay, investment त गर्नु पर्यो नि त, कतै investment. Okay, so if you think to be rich, okay, then you need to do the investment. Capital must be there. Okay, so there must be the investment. Okay, but if there is no saving, okay, if there is the low income, there is less saving. If there is less saving, there is a low capital. And if there is low capital, that is, if you cannot have the money with you all, then there is a low investment also. Okay, so investment will not सक्दैन तिम्रो कतै पनि कुनै प्रोजेक्टमा. Okay, so and after that, so what will happen? So if there is a low investment, there is a low production also. Okay, so तिमीहरुको उत्पादन हुँदैन, and if there is a low production, there is low income also in our country. So that's why, so हाम्रो देश गरिब हुनुको कारण के हो त? हाम्रो देश गरिब हुनुको कारण low income rate नै रहेछ. Low income कसरी भयो त? हाम्रो literacy छैन. Okay, so there is a different other sectors. Okay, so अरु चीजहरु पनि अलिकति सपोर्टिङ छैन. That's why देख्छ low income. अनि जब low income हुन्छ तब धेरै अरु फ्याक्टर्सहरु हुन्छ. Okay, so low income बाट स्टार्ट भएर low income मै एन्डिङ भइराछ. Low income छ, low saving छ. Low saving भएकोले low capital, that is we cannot invest in other projects also. Okay, and if there is low investment, there is a low production. Okay, so no any उत्पादन over here, and if there is a low production, then there is a ultimately low income. That means गरिब जन्मिँदै रहेछ, गरिब नै मरिँदै रहेछ. Okay, so that's why we must develop our own home country product. Okay. Okay, so next number 2 is the demographic characteristics. Okay, demographic भनेको population wise कस्तो छ त? Okay, population चाहिँ कस्तो छ त? Right? So demographic characteristics. So there is a high growth rate. Right? Population growth rate is very high in our country because illiteracy छ. जब illiteracy भयो भने के हुन्छ त? The people they doesn't know, I guess, so how much to give birth. Okay, so they are so they are not engaged in other jobs also. That's the population is very high. Okay, the population is very high, and if the population is high, okay, they cannot educate their children also. Okay, so 8 जना children भने कसरी educate दिने तिनीलाई? Okay, so 1 जनाको बराबर. So nowadays, okay, so most of the people, okay, so the fee structure is very high nowadays. If there are 8 children, that is we can afford for all the children. Okay, so illiteracy rate पनि बढेर जान्छ if there is a high population. Okay, so if there is a high population rate, there is a poverty because supply education दिन सकेन भने, if there is no education, there is a poverty. Okay, supply हामीले खानेकुरा राम्रो दिन सक्दैनौँ. Okay, so we cannot fulfill all the basic needs and all. Okay, so that's why there is a poverty also. So there is a religious belief also. Okay, so Nepal is also a kind of developing country. That's why there are a lot of religious belief in our country also. Okay, so religious belief पनि धेरै छ. So unavailability of the means of family planning is here. Okay, so धेरै कारण छ which causes the increase in population. Okay, so illiteracy ले गर्दा पनि population बढिरहेछ, poverty ले गर्दा पनि population बढिरहेछ. So religious belief. Okay, so यो त भगवानको आशीर्वाद हो भनेर, that is initially also the population is increasing. So there is no means of family planning also. Okay, there are many means of family planning. ESP मा पढेको होला तिमीले. So there are many means, but they are not using it. That's why also the population is getting higher day by day, isn't it? So in the developing country, the population is growing by 2 or 3%. Okay, so it looks very small percentage, but it is very high. Okay, so it is very high. So 3 crore ko 3% पनि धेरै हुन्छ. Okay, so that's why the population growth is very high in case of developing country. Okay, so there's some tick गर्ने अनि यहाँ पनि tick गरौँ. And there is a high dependency ratio also. Okay, so if the population is high, then what will happen? So if the population is high, then most of the people, they are dependent. Okay, they are depending upon other country, other people. Okay, so like there are 5 children, and only father is earning, mother is the housewife of the house. Okay, so if 5 members are there, out of 5 members, only 1 is earning. That means, so many of them are dependent upon their father. Okay, so many of them are dependent. Okay, so that is not good. Okay, so there is a high dependency ratio in our country. Okay, and in Nepal, so 55 economic active people are there. Okay, that means 5 crore 3 crore population छ, त्यसमा 55% active population छ भने 45% they are under the so they are the developed, so they are the dependent population. That means aruko parma. So you are all dependent population because you are dependent upon your parents. Okay, so तिमीहरु कोही आफ्नो parents सँग guardian को dependent मा छ. Okay, but okay, so these are the factors which causes the poverty line. Okay, so this causes the uh, these are the causes of developing country. Okay, so these are the characteristics that are found in the developing country. Okay, so next one is the social cultural characteristics also. Okay, social cultural characteristics one. Because the good देखिन्छ the developing country भन्दाखेरि they follow different religions. Okay, so different religions are different religions they follow, and your heterogeneous religion factors are Hindus are Sami. Okay, so most of you are Hindu over here, so Muslim, some of them are Muslim, some of them are Christians. Okay, so हाम्रो festivals धेरै छ. And some festivals there is a खर्च पनि धेरै हुन्छ. Okay, so if there are more kharcha, if there are more religion, there are more kharcha also, and if there is more expenses, okay, if there are more expenditure, saving further. Okay, there's many saving in our country. So these are the characteristics found in the developing country. Okay, developing country ma yesto pani देखिँदो रहेछ. There are many cultures, and because of this culture also, people are not above the poverty line. Okay, so त्यो कमाएको कुरो सबै कल्चरले नै सघाउने रहेछ. So this can also be found in the developing country. Okay, so यो टिक लगाइहालौँ अनि let me go to the next topic. So just I have few minutes left now. Okay. Political characteristics. Okay, so we can see the different political characteristics in our country also. Okay, so like there is a unstable political parties. Okay, एउटा political parties भइरहँदैन. So also, so nowadays there is Oli. Okay, so KP Sharma Oli. Okay, but previously the government used to be changed after every 9 months, otherwise 6 months, otherwise 12 months. Okay, so usually change भइरहन्छ. Okay, so one prime minister used to have the different strategies. Okay, so different plannings are आएको थियो होला, different planning मा उत्रेको हुन्छ होला. But when the political party will be changed, then they cannot have that. Okay, so त्यो project हुन्छ, so that will be cancelled. Okay, जुन political parties ले रहेछ, so that will be cancelled and the new ideas will come. And after again after 9 months, again that will be cancelled. Okay, जुन भर्खर आएछ पार्टीजहरुले जुन प्लानिङ गरेर बनाएको छ फेरि त्यो पनि क्यान्सल हुन्छ. So in this way, the plans are getting cancelled day by day. Okay, so they are getting cancelled. But अहिले KP Sharma Oli, so 4 years भइसक्यो. Okay, so they are still stable सरकार भएको. Okay, so अहिले त ठिकै छ, but previously there was an unstable political characteristics that we have seen, okay, in our days. Okay, and there is a frequent change in the government, and they cannot implement the developmental plans and policies successfully. Okay, so the plans of policies are still successfully चलेको थिएन, चलेको हुँदैन. Okay, in that country. So जुनै पनि गरिब कन्ट्रीमा हेर्ने, so political partiesहरु चेन्ज भइरहन्छ, frequently they are changing. Okay, so अमेरिकामा so 5 years सम्म एउटा स्टेबल सरकार हुन्छ. So मोदी सरकार, so they are stable. Okay, nowadays the India is developing very rapidly because of the stable government. Okay, so the political parties and the governments are mostly guided by the interest and the power of the developed country. Okay, so they are ruled by the other countries. Right? So हामी गरिब मुलुक छौं भने हामीलाई अरु कन्ट्रीले रुल गरिरहेको छ अरे. Is it or not? Okay, so it is true, isn't it? So we are ruled by India or China. Okay, हामी इन्डिया र चाइनाको लैलैमा लागिरहेका छौं. So they are ruling. Okay, so तिनीहरुको डिसिजन चाहिन्छ. So we were making the constitution, and Indian government was interfering. Okay, so for making the rules and regulation also. Okay, so तिनीहरुको power, तिनीहरुको rules, तिनीहरुको interest अनुसार नै हाम्रो डेभलप हाम्रो कन्ट्रीहरु चलिरहेको हुन्छ. Okay, so the institutions and the other own interest. Okay, तिनीहरुको interest अनुसार नै. Okay, so हाम्रो खोला छ. Okay, so our rivers are there. Okay, but यो रिभरमा ड्याम बनाउनको लागि, यो रिभरको ड्यामहरु खोल्नुको लागि पनि, so we need to ask the permission to India, isn't it? Okay, so त्यो Okay, so Nepal डुबोस् तर त्यो ड्याम खोल्नु भएन, कोसीको ड्यामहरू खोल्नु भएन. Okay, so that are the things that can be seen in our country. Okay, so still we can see in our country also. The overall effect of is that the nation remains backward and the underdeveloped. Okay, so that is, so it's the political parties गर्दाखेरि so our country is getting underdeveloped day by day. Okay, so this is the last point maybe because the time is going to be up. Okay, so high dependency on agriculture. Okay, so agriculture ma highly dependent on the race. So in the developing country, so our country we can see our country also. So we are most dependent on agriculture. And agriculture ma काम कति हुन्छ त भन्दाखेरि 4 महिना मात्रै हुन्छ. And again after 4 months they are going to be unemployed, isn't it? Because 4 महिना so असारदेखि so maybe you मङ्सिरसम्म they are employed because they are growing something. Okay, so after that one, so they are jobless. What to do after that one? Okay, so they cannot do the work. Okay, so that's why so they are dependent upon other things. Okay, so if they are dependent upon the agriculture, yeah, so they cannot have a good. Okay, so the economy cannot be increased. Okay, so that's why so एग्रिकल्चरमा डिपेन्डेन्ट हुनाले देश कहिले पनि उँभो लाग्दैन. ओके, सो त्यो नयाँ टेक्नोलोजिसहरू युज गर्नु पर्यो. सो विदेशमा के छ भन्दाखेरि एउटा ठुलो ल्यान्ड छ भने सो दिस अल ल्यान्ड्स आर सो एउटा ठुलो ट्र्याक्टरले नभए डोजरले के गर्छ त सो दे आर प्लोड बाई द बिग मेसिन्स. ओके, बिग मेसिन्सले मजाले रोल गरेर बनाउँछ. ओके, अनि सबैमा एउटै खालको नासको सामानहरू ग्रो गर्छ. बट इन आवर कन्ट्री वाट इज गोइङ अन भन्दाखेरि so this is one plot of land. Okay, एउटा यसको अनर अर्कै हो, यसको अनर अर्कै हो, यसको अनर अर्कै हो, यसको अनर यो प्लट अफ ल्यान्ड हो भने यसको सबैको अनर अर्कै अर्कै हुन्छ. एन्ड सो तिमीहरूको ठुलो मेसिन्स लगाए पनि यति मात्रै प्लो गर्नुको लागि त यो मेसिन त खर्चालु भयो. ओके, इफ यो ठुलो जग्गा नै यसको भएको भए त सबै मेसिनले मजाले प्लो गरिन्थ्यो होला. ओके, मजाले खनिन्थ्यो होला. बट यतिको लागि त ठुलो मेसिन किन्नुको लागि त खर्चालु भयो. ओके, सो द्याट्स वाइ so that is also a reason that our country underdeveloped. Okay, विदेशमा सबै एउटै हुन्छ and big machines are there, so they are plowing the fields. The big fields are being plowed by the machines. Okay, so मजाले फर्टिलाइजर्सहरू युज गरिरहेको छ, पानीहरू पनि मजाले युज गरिरहेको छ. So in that way so the country is going to be developed. Okay, so एग्रिकल्चरमा पनि डिपेन्डेन्ट, so त्यसमा पनि अझै तिमीहरूको पिस अफ ल्यान्ड फ्रेगमेन्ट गरेर चलाइरहेछ. Okay, and that's why also the country is getting underdeveloped in our